the Foul Territory shop. I saw it last night when I was in the store. Do you know what it is?
Your mic?
Oldest trick in the book.
Classic.
Can
you tell them what it is? You know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
Really?
No, I don't. I'm not privy to it.
Okay, so there are hats like yours and AJ's.
Okay.
Give me another variation of a hat.
Like a beanie cap? Like a toboggan?
No, it's a hat. It's a hat, but it has it's got some mesh action to it. What's it called?
I don't wear trucker hats.
Who made FT trucker hats? You know I can't wear no trucker hats.
I think it would really show off your skin.
AJ, tell him.
I don't even like trucker hats, so I'm the wrong person to ask.
I like trucker hats. I do. I really like them. Like a nice
who
trucker
loves
hat.
trucker hats? Claude.
Claude likes trucker hats?
Can't just
got
say
a ponytail.
Claude. You have to give more context for everyone.
Claudia in Miami loves trucker hats.
That is Claudia in Miami. Likes long walks on the beach and trucker hats.
Well, check it out, okay? I know a lot of people were asking about them, so foulterritoryshop.com now has trucker hats.
I want to see them.
Exactly.
The kids like trucker hats.
There you go. Sure. There's the nice little shout out and all of that. By the way, since we're going to dive into some depression for the Astros soon, before we get to that, there were two things I wanted to shout out. One is what Kratz and I were talking about right before the show started. Go ahead. What did you want to tell everyone?
I forget.
Who's the best player in baseball?
I forget who. Ellie De La Cruz. The right-handed swing yesterday on a fastball up is a big difference from what we saw last year and before he got hot. Like actually leveling out his swing on a speed ball up in the zone, that was impressive for a double right center.
How many stolen bases yesterday?
All of them.
3.
It's pretty good.
He is doing it. He is doing it.
I won't label him as best player of the game. He's got a ways to go for that.
Exciting is the word. Exciting is the word.
Electric.
I
like electric.
Electric.
You know who else is electric? Real quick. Estuary Ruiz was not in the starting lineup yesterday, and I think he's healthy. I was just confused because I think there's one A that was in the lineup yesterday that had an OPS above either 700 or 800. I was doing the math. Wait, let me see. Above 700. One player had an OPS above 700 in the lineup yesterday against the Yankees, and that was Brent Rooker. How is Estuary Ruiz not in the lineup? I get it. It's early. He's had 20 at-bats. He's 7 for 20 in the bigs. He was crushing the minor leagues when they sent him down for no reason. And he's got, his couple stolen bags, 1240 OPS. How is he not in the lineup every day right now? Again, you need to see what this looks like.
My question is, who are they choosing? Who are they choosing over him? Because it's not like he's just like he's neat and hot. Like, he had 68 stolen bases last year after missing time. Like, that alone should give you an opportunity, let alone what he's doing, getting on base, driving runs in. He came back from AAA. Like, I don't know if he's pissed or not, but man, he is. He needs to be in there every day.
I'll give you. So, what you want to know? What the
who's
outfield looks like?
Yeah.
So the outfield yesterday was Seth Brown in left.
Has to be in the lineup.
Lawrence Butler in right.
Not sure why he has to be in the lineup.
And J.J. Bleday in center.
He runs a nice center field. He lost his glove yesterday to Soto, though.
He did. AJ, how does Estuary Ruiz not play every single day right now for Oakland?
I've learned not to question Billy Beane in the A's because they once had a bad movie made about him.
Yeah, but you've beaten the Billy Beane A's, so why?
You slayed the dragon that never won a World Series during that time period.
We slayed it. They just didn't give us any credit. I don't know why. I don't know why he's not in the lineup. He should never been sent down. He should be in the lineup. I mean, right now he's probably their most, I guess Bleday or Gelof's going on the IL, so you can't count him. But I mean, right now he's probably their most exciting player. You need him in there every day and get on base. He can steal a base. He can hit you a homer. I don't know. That's a Mark Kotze, Billy Beane question. Maybe John Fisher question.
Is he still making decisions? Is Billy Beane still making decisions over there? Because I heard he wasn't, but I don't know. There's not many Fox games that you're doing to find out that kind of information.
No, there's not much. There's not much happening as far as Oakland Fox wise.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be a we have Ross Stripling on today. Let's ask him.
100%. What if Ross just came out and was like, we have no idea. We're actually going to put our jerseys. We're going to put our jerseys on the desk unless Estuary Ruiz is in the game.
Thank you. I forgot we have chicken strip today. I'm very excited about that. And one more, and then I promise we'll start. FT Leadoff, second edition of the newsletter came out this morning. Please subscribe. I'll drop the link in there. It's free. It takes you a minute to scroll through it, and it's really good. And our team behind the scenes does a great job with it. We edit it late into the night to give you everything that you missed from the past couple of days. Eventually, it might be a little daily newsletter. Yes.
Before you say that, since you're here, I have a button. I'm going to hit the button.
To charge the Mound?
No, to subscribe.
Oh, okay.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And to FT Leadoff. Oh, look at this. We have a QR code.
Need it. Hit the QR code.
So you press the camera button on your phone, and then you put it up against the screen. You don't have to touch the screen. Just throw it up there, grab that QR code, then it gives you a link, and you press it. And then it takes you to FT Leadoff. That's cool. Love that. How did I do, AJ?
Well, I don't know why it's so hard for you to say subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube channel, but you love to subscribe to the newsletter.
He loves the news.
I don't understand why. I mean, I don't know. Subscribe,
Because
Scott.
they're already here. So I assume that
people
they
that are
remind
listening
them.
aren't already here. So if they're already here, that doesn't mean if you listen to any podcast, anything they say it like 5 times a show. Like, hey, please hit the subscribe button if you like it.
You know who says it the best? Ken Rosenthal. We just had fair territory.
How many times did he say it?
He probably says it 2 or 3 times a show. Probably.
In
Top and bottom at least.
In a half an hour?
Yeah. And our show is just a cool half an
2
hour
hours.
times 4. Yeah.
So 28
okay,
times we got to do it.
Press the button for CTM. Nailed it. Did you guys see the Angels-Orioles game last night and the way that it concluded?
I did.
So Joe Adele
No.
caught stealing. Let's go to Pierzynski in Orlando in the instant replay center. AJ, is he out or
Yeah.
safe?
I don't care if he's out or safe. You shouldn't be stealing unless you make it with absolutely no throw and no chance to be thrown out. I mean, there's angles you could say he's out. There's angles you could say he's safe. The umpire called him out. That usually overrules it. But again, if you're stealing, Kratz, in that situation, you better make it, and there better not even be a play. You better make it standing up because you should not end a game like that. Listen, it was a great throw by McCann and Lance Barksdale there with the out, and Joe Adele's going to fire his helmet down. But, I mean, again, for me, if you're stealing that situation, you better make it without a throw.
How do you not? McCann is not Pudge Rodriguez. Unbelievable throw. Did you see how long Kimbrel took to get to the plate? Like, you got to be in there 100 out of 100 times. There is no, you're only the tying run, and you get, I completely agree with you. I disagree with the call. They went to replay, and I don't understand where they saw, did it hit like his hand as he was going by? Because if the only touch was on his stomach or on his chest, wherever it was, to me, he was safe. That was a bad replay.
Can I get explanation on something like that? Why can't we have transparency? Why? Just say, hey, we felt like it wasn't conclusive enough to overturn it, or we felt like he did get a piece of whatever, and we have a cooler camera than what you're looking at. I don't know. Give me something.
I mean, it's New York. They always like going to the like fake replay center. Just have somebody, just an explanation.
There's press releases all the time in sports because they want people to know information. There are massive PR departments.
Yeah, but look at the press releases that we've had so far from umpires. It has been doubled down on, nope.
Wasn't me.
What? Yep.
Shaggy.
There's no way. There's no way.
Wasn't me.
Nope. I didn't mess up the call.
Okay, because they were freaking out in Anaheim. And you know what? They should be, because this team needs every win it can get right now. And they felt like they got hosed. And you're right, AJ. It shouldn't even be that close, but because it was, they felt like they got hosed and they had a runner in scoring position who could have tied the game.
Yeah, but I mean, what are you going to do? You ain't going to go back and change it. And again, it still goes back to you should have just made it. I mean, Kimbrel was like too flat to the plate. So, I mean, what Jill get a late start? That's what I couldn't figure out.
True. Little things not working out for them. Did you see what Max Scherzer said about umps that make bad calls? If not, we have it for you. So, Mad Max, take it away.
I don't know. I'm not really a fan. I want a human back there judging the calls. I want that's just, it seems too weird to have a robot calling the game. I think I threw an 0 slider and like that just felt like a ball, and then all of a sudden that's getting called a strike now. So for me, the way I kind of I've kind of thought about this and how we want the electronic strike zone, and I think when you talk enough guys that we want the human element of the game. The human element of the game is good. And we need to keep that in baseball. And I figure we've done so much in baseball to try to remove the human element. And so for me, going forward, of how I kind of conceptualize what the electronic strike zone should be is really we need to rank the umpires. Let the electronic strike zone rank the umpires, and then we need to have a conversation about the bottom. Let's call it 10% or whatever you want to declare the bottom is, and talk about relegating those umpires to the minor leagues and getting in the best umpires in the game. That way the umpires are going against themselves. It's still a human element of how we rank the umpires, that it's amongst themselves, and that policing kind of the bottom is the way to go. When I'm out there pitching, if you told me I had the 10th best umpire or the 75th best umpire, you don't really notice too much between that, because they're really good at their jobs. The umpires are actually really good. It's really the bottom umpires that we all kind of have a problem with. And so if there was a mechanism in order to make the umpires on the bottom better, I think that would be a better way to address this.
Relegation. Man, I know we'll never get it in the teams, but umpires, I'm totally good with that. 10% might be a little big, because I don't think it needs to be right on par with players. Like if you think about it, teams have 26 players. They use 42 per year on average. Some teams get up to 60 some. So you're talking about 16 to 20 players who are not good enough to be in the big leagues, whether or not they will be in the future, not applying during the season. Essentially half the guys that play in the big leagues for a team are not good enough to be in the big leagues. So umpires, if you want to be in the big leagues, set a standard, and those guys get sent down because the next guys get called up. They want to earn it. And they want to stay.
Right now, AJ, it's like, I made it. Now I can mess up. I have tenure.
I don't know about that. Most of these guys care a lot.
I'm exaggerating, but the point is you don't have what Max is referring to, which holds people accountable.
They also have a union that'll never allow it. So that's going to be a major problem. I love the idea. I don't know if 10% is the right number. Let's say there's 15 games a day, 4 umps. There's 60 total umpires in the big leagues, plus some replacement guys here and there. So let's say 75, 10%. You're going to send down 7 or 8 at the end of the year. I say maybe the bottom 5, but then you have also minor league guys that are coming up and down. So how do you balance that? I mean, it's a great idea if you can figure out how to do it. But I just don't see it happening. I do love the idea because it would make them focus on every call and every single play. And then we could also make the numbers public from a Major League Baseball standpoint, say, here's the umpires ranked. And then when they give assignments for the postseason, we could say, oh, they got the top 7 umpires in the World Series for a 7-game series, or 6. The top 6 umpires with 1 on the side in case somebody gets hurt. And then, boom, you go from there. Or the All-Star game, we have the best 6 umpires, or whatever it is. Or we have 5 of the best 6 and one of them's hurt, whatever, he's on vacation, whatever it is. But I love this idea. It just won't happen.
They get bonuses for being in the All-Star game, being in the playoffs. It's special to them. They care about that. And they do care about doing a good job. And I think if they're shown their numbers publicly, I think it would be even better and you would see an uptick. But I think the way to get through the union, to me, give them a little more cash, because their salaries have not kept up with players' salaries percentage-wise. Not saying that they should get the league minimum, but I would agree that they should be paid based on how well they do.
I'm into that. If you're going to demote someone, you should also reward someone.
Yeah, but here's the problem. I don't know how much you guys have dealt with unions. It doesn't work like that, especially a small union like the umpires union. It's just not going to happen.
What do you mean? Like they wouldn't accept more money if people would get relegated? They'd rather have the concrete job?
100%.
And it doesn't matter what kind of job you do?
I mean, they obviously don't care about that, because if they did, they would say something to some of these guys, but they don't. And so they have all the power, because kind of once you're established and you're there, you're kind of there forever. I mean, you're there until, but Joe West umpired for like 50 years, I mean, he had good days and bad days. Angel Hernandez has been around for how long? Some of the guys we talk about a lot have been there for, 20 plus years. They haven't gone anywhere. It's going to be really hard to change it. You'd have to throw a number out there that no one's going to be comfortable with, except maybe the umpires union.
What if it's a guaranteed contract, even if you do get demoted? So
then guys
you're not
would
losing
be
your
like,
job
oh, wait.
and your pay.
Yeah, but guys would be like, oh, wait, AAA, let's say that one of them lives close to somewhere. I mean, I'm serious. Like, I still get to travel the same. Oh, wait, there's nobody watching me in AAA. There's no pressure. And I get paid the same. Air travel is a little bit different. Yeah, but they travel commercial too, so it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, but you could make that case with a player. I mean, Rusney Castillo wasn't good, and he hung out in AAA for a long time.
Yeah, but he was getting paid, but he also, I guarantee, he'd rather be in the big leagues than AAA.
Well, wouldn't an ump feel the same way? No. Are you just in it for the money? I disagree on this. You think an ump's just in it for the cash? He doesn't want to be in the major leagues? Also, if he doesn't want to be there, I don't want him there.
Of course they want to be there, but if they're getting paid the same in AAA, I mean, listen, umpire has no home. They have no home stadium. They're always on the road, so they fly commercial. So they're going to fly commercial in the minor leagues. They all are, supposed to fly coach. They all get upgrades because they fly too much. Okay, they stay at hotels. They pick their hotels where they stay. The difference between Indianapolis hotel and a Pittsburgh hotel. No offense to Pittsburgh or Indianapolis, but you can get a Westin in either one. That's fairly similar, right? The food's about the same. Right? I mean, the ballpark's a little different. There's less people, but you're also like, man, there's no scrutiny on me here in AAA. I'm like, this ain't a bad life. I'm still making $400,000 to $500,000. Still have the same travel schedule. And I probably can take a little more time with my family, because guess what? I can show up a little later. It's still a AAA game, not a big league game. I disagree.
No, I think it's too much of a parallel. The good umpires, I don't think we're not even talking about the good umpires. We're talking about the ones that could be relegated.
Right. I don't want them here, though. The bad ones, I don't want them here. So okay, we eat a little bit of money, and there's guaranteed money to some dudes that are in the minors, and it's not as important. I don't know. I don't think that's crazy. There's players getting guaranteed money that care way more than other players getting guaranteed money. It's part of the give and take.
I hate. You can't. I hate. That's the stupidest argument. That's a stupid argument. You can't tell me one player cares more than another player. Like that's you can't tell me that.
That's true. Tell me you don't think so? You think every player cares the same?
No, but you can't measure that. I can't measure how you can't measure how much
how can
I love
measure that with the ump?
You can't. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. And it's less of a demotion, as far as I'm concerned, for an umpire than it is for a player, because a player gets charter flights. Yeah. There's a million.
The lifestyle for a big league player is here, and with the rewards through the roof.
Okay.
And minor leagues, it's here. Umpires, it's a little closer.
I understand. I agree to disagree that I think an umpire wants to be umping in the major leagues. And if he's cool taking money in the minors, and it becomes this big issue where we're demoting all these dudes that we feel like are trying harder to be in the minors, then we can deal with it then. I don't know. Kind of silly, but anyway, back to baseball. Mike Trout homered. He leads baseball in homers. He's got 10. Who saw Mike Trout with 10 homers leading baseball right now, and Marcell Ozuna with 29 RBIs leading baseball? Anyone have that? The second one's tougher, obviously.
The second one, way tougher.
Yeah.
I am not in the Keith Law side of things, as Keith's going to come on later.
Yeah.
Of your bat speed. There's proof that your bat speed slows down after 31. Mike Trout can still play. I'm not saying his bat speed doesn't slow down. I'm saying this is a top 5 player, whether he was injured or not last year. That doesn't take away his skills. It just takes him off the field to show what he can do. And so Marcell Ozuna, doing what he's doing, hitting the ball out of the ballpark, driving in runs when they need it, taking the ball the other way with runners in scoring position like he did yesterday. Like, You didn't see that happening in that lineup. And maybe he's a product of their lineup because you're like, I got to go after somebody and I can't just wait till the bottom of the order. But he is, whether you're hating on him or not, he's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it. Agreed. One more, because then we have our first guest. AJ, I already asked you this the last 3 days, so I'll ask again. When are we freaking out about the Astros?
We should have already been freaking out. I don't know. We talked about it yesterday. We've talked about it a couple days ago. They're 10 games under. They're 11 games under 500. Their pitching staff is in shambles. Their hitters are struggling. Their relievers aren't doing what we thought they would do. They're just not a good team right now. You can say whatever you want. Oh, it's coming. Why? Because it's the Astros. But at some point, every run comes to an end. The Braves won all those division titles in a run. It came to an end, right? The Astros made 7 straight LCSs. And I'm not saying it's over with, but it is a lot harder when you're 7-18 than it is when you're, we're 7-10. Okay, we'll figure it out. 7-18 in that division with the Rangers, the Mariners, the way they're playing, and with the unbalanced schedule, the way it is, the balanced schedule where you play in your division less, it's hard to make those games up.
They were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position yesterday. They left 10 on base. It was a cold game too, 40 degrees first pitch, but it's 4-0. They're in a hole. They've been outscored 30-15 in the first inning. Now that plays to the starting pitching problems they've had. Spencer Arrigetti's got good stuff. He's not ready. He's learning on the fly. They did not want to bring him up this early.
Yeah, I mean, but the MO of this team has been bring somebody up, plug them in, plug and play. Go ahead. So I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted, and I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, who do they have as free agents? But it gets to that point, if they don't get above 500 by the end of May, you're thinking that, was Bregman on the block? Like, I know it's early. It's early. Maybe this is what the fire that they needed to get lit underneath them, but the A's are ahead of them right now. Didn't have that on my bingo card.
I'll read you something from Ken's article about the Mets the other day. He goes, if the Astros fail to rebound from their start, maybe the Mets could get Verlander back. They're already paying nearly 3/4 of his $43.3 million salary. That would be a cool story.
That would be weird.
It'd be cool, though.
They could just do the trade backwards.
Yeah.
Just everybody the same. Everybody the same, just back. The Astros have to eat some of the money just because.
Well, and also the prospects that the Mets get.
Somebody's at the door.
Giving them back. Someone is at the door. Let's bring in an old friend of mine and a great ball player back in the day. Steve Sax joining us right now. Saxy, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a minute.
How you doing, Scotty?
I'm good. So actually, I want to bring you into the other debate that we were having right before we got to the Astros. How do we fix the ump problem in baseball right now?
Well, you could start by firing Angel Hernandez. That might be a good start. No, I don't want to back on Angel. I mean, we all know where it's been with him. I'll tell you how far this goes back. My brother, as you know, was a big league player. He's a catcher, and he played a few years in the big leagues with the Dodgers when I was there, and also with Boston. When my brother was in AAA, my brother's 2 years older than me. When my brother was in AAA, Angel Hernandez tossed him out of a AAA game. And if you don't get along with my brother's like the nicest guy you ever met in your life. There's something wrong with you if you can't get along with my brother. I don't know one person that dislikes him, but Angel found a way to toss him out of a game. The only time he's ever been thrown out of a game, and this was in AAA before he got to the big league. So we're talking long time ago. So this isn't something that's just been around for, here and there. It's been kind of a pattern that we've seen over decades, So, I think the umpire's got to be held accountable, like everybody else in the world we see today. Everybody's got to be held accountable. That's what we all want, and certainly the umpires need to go through that scrutiny, I think, as well. We need to get the best guys out there. They've got a lot of help. I mean, I call the games for the Giants AAA here in Sacramento, the TV games on Saturdays, and you got help from the automatic balls and strikes even. I mean, everybody's got help. At least you could do is get some guys behind there that can be held accountable for what they're calling out there. Because it's not good. I mean, I don't like the situation as it is. I mean, umpires are going out on the field and, checking the pitchers like they're kindergartners. Let me see your hands. Let me see your glove. Let me check your hat. I mean, it's got to be brought to another level, a higher level of professionalism, I think. But things like that have got to be taken control of. I mean, let's get the best and brightest out there.
Well, Saxy, how is the ABS system in the minor leagues right now? I've heard mixed reviews, but is it great overall? Are there like few glitches still left to go, or could we start it tomorrow and be ready to go?
Well, I think they've got it down pretty well. I mean, the answers come quickly. It's kind of like what we see when the field judge goes under the hood in the NFL. You want to see a quick response. Sometimes we don't get it quickly, but we want to see the truth come out. And that's what we're seeing pretty much in baseball. And it's pretty much like it is in tennis. You know, you see the ball that barely hits the line. They've got the same thing now kind of dialed in for the strike zone. So you're getting a pretty quick answer. And the pitcher or the hitter can ask a certain amount of requests to get a change or not. And they do it pretty quickly. It runs pretty good. I don't like it because I'm a purist at heart. I like the traditional game. Let's leave some of that jurisdiction in the hands of the umpires. I think they're big boys and they can handle it. But, you know, they have it this way now, and it does happen pretty quickly, though.
Saxy, you mentioned you're in Sacramento. What does it feel like to be calling big league games on Saturday? That's next year. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, how about that? It's well, I'll tell you what, the city is just ecstatic about this. The city can handle it. No problem. There's no question about that. You look at the demographics with, you know, the area outside of Sacramento. When you talk about up the corridor at Highway 50 and 80, when you get into Folsom and Roseville here, where I live, I mean, you're talking to probably over 2 million people that could, help this franchise, and they have been thirsting for baseball. Baseball is notoriously, Sacramento is notoriously a baseball and boxing mecca. If you look in the past, you've seen, tremendous amount of baseball players and boxers here from Sacramento. Of course, we've really taken in the Sacramento Kings. The city loves the Sacramento Kings. But if we get baseball to stay here, oh my gosh, it's going to be incredible. They would go nuts to have a big league team here.
What does that look like? Does the city of Sacramento say, you know what, we're gonna just expand this stadium? Most minor league stadiums aren't like Buffalo or Charlotte, where it's like, hey,
yes,
we can add on another deck. Is that what they would do?
It's a great question. I think that's in flux right now. I think what they'd like to do is see if they can make that work for the 3 year, 4 years, whatever it is. And if they just happen not to work out in Las Vegas and they stay here, Sacramento would and has plenty of places to build, a beautiful stadium here. They did it downtown for the Kings and their new stadium there. They would love to do it here in Sacramento, but we'll see how that happens. But I think, to the answer to your question, is the bar is already low, and not to rag on Oakland, but they weren't drawn well, as we all know. Immediately when they go here, they're going to triple the attendance that they had at least in Oakland without doing any expansion, without spending more money. So the owner really has a bit of an easement here for the next couple of years. I'm sure everybody would like him to go out and put a great product on the field and spend a lot of money, and maybe that's going to happen when they finally get a spot where the A's are going to be.
See, most of you guys remember, obviously, I do remember you with the Dodgers. I know you played for some other organizations, Yankees, White Sox, Oakland, but the Dodgers are pretty good right now. And what do you think? And then when you answer that, I do have one more follow-up about your career that I would love to ask you.
They've got unbelievable talent on that team. They got a lot of money to spend, and they're not ashamed to do it. Shohei Ohtani with that bomb he hit was yesterday, I think, was kind of emblematic. I think what we're going to see a lot of. And Mookie Betts, hey Mookie, I know you're a great athlete. You got the offense, great. You came up as a second baseman. Go play right field and win a Gold Glove. Oh, you're tired of that? Why don't you go over to shortstop and play the hardest position on the field besides maybe catcher? Go do that, and then we'll have another job. Okay, he goes out there and he's playing at a Gold Glove level. This is sick, the ability of this guy to just leave a position and go to another one and just command the position defensively. It's amazing what strides this team can make with the amount of talent they got. So, they're starting to show it a little bit, push on the pedal a little bit. I think they're going to be, the team to be reckoned with, at the end of the year.
All right. Well, before we get to I got to ask you about Pedro Guerrero because he's got some great quotes and great stories, and I got to ask you about a couple of them to see if they're true or not. But I got to ask you about the throwing thing. I played against, but I played against Knobloch, all right, and when they moved him to left field after he had kind of the same thing. First of all, how did you get over it? Maybe I should start with where did it start, and then how did you get over it? Because I've seen guys not be able to get over it. Rick Ankiel, right? He got. I guess we can use the yips. Exactly. He got the yips, didn't throw a strike. How'd you get over it?
Well, it's a long story, AJ, and I'll kind of get this tight. Is that the last conversation I ever had with my dad, the night before he died? If you knew what my dad was like, he wasn't "I love you and I'm sorry." He was a doer, not a talker. And he told me that he went through the same thing when he was a ball player. My dad was a really good baseball player. And this is how you get over this issue. You don't have a mental block. He said you have a temporary loss of confidence. And once the confidence comes back, this thing will dissipate. And so I started working on it in practice, just like he had told me. And I started getting my confidence back in practice. I actually switched him. I took on practice as a game. And so when game time came along, it was like, hey, I've already been through this. I was relaxing. And then when I got through that thing, I went on and I led the league in fielding at my position when I went to the American League. And I was in the top 5 fielding from then on in all second basemen. So it was about conversations with my dad that helped me get over this. And then oddly enough, after my dad died, about 3 years later, I was talking to my mom about this conversation with my dad. And my mom and dad have been together since the 5th grade. And my mom told me, she said, your dad never had a throwing problem in his life. He just said that because he knew how much I revered his strength and his wisdom. And if he could go through it, then it's not so bad that I'm going through it. And that's how I got my confidence back, by somebody that was selfless enough, like my dad, to tell me this when he never went through a throwing problem, but it helped me get over it. And thankfully, I was one of the very few guys that went through this thing that got over it. Because as you said, AJ, a lot of guys don't get over this issue.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Well, then I'm going to ask, I'm going to ask it. Pedro Guerrero had some great quotes. Don't hit it to me. Don't hit it to Saxy either. It's probably one of the all-time great ones. There's some other ones we can't say on the air about Pedro. But, I mean, how many great Pedro Guerrero stories are there out there?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them I can't even, as you said, can't.
There's a lot we can't tell on the air.
But yes, I think he said that, and that was a great quote. I even thought that was hilarious. And if you think about it, as horrible as I was, I mean, I had 24, 26 errors at the break. I mean, it was just the worst thing you'd ever imagine. But Pedro Guerrero actually did worse than me. So I mean, nobody talks about him. But yeah, we were slinging that sucker everywhere around the field. But
what did Tommy say? Like, what was Tommy saying at this point?
Tommy was just going nuts. I mean, and you know what's weird is we got in the playoffs that year. In all the errors that I made, for instance, and I take responsibility on my own stuff, I only had one error that cost us a game that year. One error the whole year. We were up 6-1 in the 9th, and I'd screw one up. I'd throw that thing. It was like, like when you play. I don't play golf, but I see guys that putt at the end. That's kind of what I would do. Is I'd do it great, everything was fine, rhythm, throw, and then I'd tighten it up, and that thing would go. I mean, these throws weren't even close to first base, so you knew that there was something wrong, right? And once I got the confidence back, it was just, man, this is so easy. How did I go through this? I mean, throwing a baseball has got to be the easiest thing to do in this very tough sport. But I don't know, the confidence just goes, man, you can't do anything. So that's where it was.
I have a fan question here from, I just lost it. I don't remember who asked it. I'm forgetting the name, but I do know the question. The question was, which team did you think was better / enjoy playing on more, 81 or 88?
Well, 81, I was just there for a little bit. I got called up in August, and I stuck with the team. So I played, up until the World Series, and Lasorda said, he brought me in the office, and he said, hey, nobody loses a job because they're hurt. Davey Lopes was now healthy. And he said, you showed you can play, but now you sit down. You sit down, and I'm going to play Davey Lopes. But here's what Tommy said to me. He said, but I want to tell you, if I'm the manager next year, you're going to be the second baseman. So just shut your mouth and sit down. I said, yes, sir. And he was right. That's exactly what happened. But I think I learned a lot, probably the most coming up on that year, but the most memorable, I think, was 88 because we were there the whole year. We weren't supposed to even win the division. We were picked fourth in our division that year. We got beat 10 out of 11 games against the Mets that year, and we beat them in 7 in the playoffs. And then to beat the mighty Bash Brothers and the A's in 5 games in the World Series had to be the pinnacle of it all. And that was probably the most memorable. Definitely was.
Knowing you won a World Series in LA, are you surprised that they haven't, with the teams that they've constructed, the teams that they haven't won more than one? Or is it really that difficult?
I think it's mostly that difficult. There's so many things you guys know. You guys played. I mean, there's so many things that happen. They have to happen. The luck part of it is real. I think that's a real thing that you have to have some luck, injuries and all that. You have to have the stalwarts play at their best, and you have to have a couple surprises on your team. And that all happened for us in '88. How about Tim Leary? Nobody talks about Tim Leary. He goes down to Mexico on the weekends all winter long and develops a split finger. He comes into the season that year and wins 17 games for us. That was amazing. That was one of our surprises. In Game 5 against the Mets, Mike Scioscia hits a home run off of Dwight Gooden. Who would have thunk that that's going to happen, right? That saved us. So we had so many things happen to us that year that were just magical. So, and of course, Gibson was amazing that year. So we just had a lot of good things happen for us that year.
But you forgot a guy. You forgot a guy.
Who's that?
You forgot a pitcher. He'll be so mad if you forget about him.
Fernando.
No, Oral in '88.
Oh, of course.
You better not show up to it. Hey, you better not show up at a Dodger game. Oral.
He'll talk about it.
Like,
He'll talk about it.
You forgot about me.
You know what? We almost take Oral for granted. He was that good. I mean, 59 and 2/3 innings. I mean, coming out of the bullpen in the playoffs to take a game with the Mets, and then start and finish it off. Against all the games he started and finished off throughout the playoffs and World Series to finish it off against the A's. Oral was not even. It was like this guy wasn't real, and he got us out of so many jams. He was like a one-man wrecking crew. But it's almost like we take him for granted. Oh yeah, we know Oral was up there, but we had amazing stuff happen to us, and our pitching was the main reason. That was.
Hey, were you involved in the play that kept his streak alive?
Yeah, I caught the pop-up. In short right field that sealed it off. And I don't think I ever gave Oral the ball. I probably still have that around here somewhere.
Oh, boy. You better watch out. But no, I was talking about there was an interference play, wasn't it, in San Francisco where there was like first and third and it was a double play and this slide or something like grabbed the shortstop and kept it. There was some crazy play that kept it alive?
I think it was in San Diego. That happened. And there was some crazy play like that and they waved it off or – it would kind of remind me of when O.J. Simpson, finished just under 2,000 yards, and then they went back and checked it, and they said, "Oh, wait a minute, he wasn't down on this play, so we're going to give him a 4-yard gain." So, he gets 2,003 yards. It may have been something like that, but it doesn't take away what Oral did. Oral was just electric. No. And A.J., you would appreciate this as a catcher. Oral, I mean, 2 pitches really, sinker and a slider, both sides of the plate. And just incredible command and worked fast. The infield worked behind him. And, once in a while he threw a 4-seamer up, but most of all, it was just that. And they were just dotted every time. It was incredible.
Were you the one who told Gibby that 3-2 Eckersley throws a slider backdoor and sit on it?
Wasn't it the
scout?
Mel Didier, the scout, yes.
Oh, okay.
It was Mel Didier.
Yeah. That's an amazing story, by the way.
It really is. And he was sitting on that pitch. Why Eckersley would throw him,
Ron Hassey's fault. Ron Hassey's fault, the catcher.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, he was throwing the fastball by him. He couldn't touch the fastball. He was barely fouling it off. And then he threw him that backup slider. And, man, he was just right at the end of his swing. I got that picture on my wall over here. This is another picture I have on my wall. I'm sure you guys know about that.
That's what we're getting to right now. So let's spend a couple minutes on this. Explain what you have behind you and also, the bigger picture here. about the kids' art for charity to benefit the Captain Jay Sax Foundation.
Yeah. Well, you guys all know what happened with my son. I lost my son about 2 years ago. My son was a phenomenal Marine. He loved serving his country. He was the best child in the world. My son, I never once scolded my son in his whole life. I'm not saying he was a perfect kid, but boy, he was damn close. And that's the way I look at him. And so this picture behind me is taken from a 1922 snapshot of Babe Ruth on a barnstorming tour. You can see Babe Ruth right here. And you guys have probably seen this picture before. What the artist did, Opie Otterstad, he took this snapshot, painted this mural that I bought from him in New York City about 15, 20 years ago. And he supplanted the faces of all those little boys in that snapshot in 1922 with current Hall of Famers when they were kids. Now, if you go through here, you can pick out 58 little boys in here or 56 of them were Hall of Famers. 56 Hall of Famers out of the 58 in this picture. Like, for instance, if you can see it, this is Stan Musial. This is Nolan Ryan. This is Juan Marichal. And you can just go through here, and there's a I can show this to you. There's a static graph right here. You can check this out. You can see all the faces with numbers on them, and the numbers correspond with the name here, and it can tell you who it is. So this sits next to the painting, and you could go to this in front of this thing and spend 5 hours going, I wonder who that kid is. I wonder who that kid is. So what my guys and I did, the team I work with, is we've done two things with this painting. Number one, we're going to mint 200 of this painting. We're going to mint 200 of them, and they're going to be minted on the blockchain. It's going to be a non-fungible token that you can upload in your Apple Wallet, and you can have this any size you want, and it looks identical to this picture. Okay? You could put it on your Apple Wallet, on your watch. You can put it at SoFi Stadium in LA, and it could be 129 yards long, and it'll look exactly like this. It'll never be changed. It's immutable. It can never be added or subtracted from, and it'll always be able to stay in its perfect condition as you see right now. The second thing that they've done is we've made it interactive. Now, for instance, you can hover over this face right here, and people don't know who this is. They can hover over that little boy's face, and his name's going to come up. That's Hank Aaron. You click on it, and a 3-minute video is going to come up and fill up the whole screen of Hank Aaron playing in the big leagues. That will dissolve, and then you go to the next little boy, and you go to the next one, and the next one. And like I said, you could be there for hours doing this, but that's what we're bringing. We're going to launch this probably in about 3 weeks. Definitely by June 1st, this is going to be out there, and we're hoping that all the teams will get one of these and use it in their stadiums. And Major League Baseball will use it on their Saturday, little kids show. Like they can identify with some of these kids that look just exactly like they do. And then we're going to hold back about 50 to 100 for the public to get as well. So we're hoping people will come on and go to babeandthekids.com. That's the website. If they go to babeandthekids.com, they can go on here, check it out, and they can actually put their name on the list, and we'll contact them if we're available. But we're going to hold about 100 back for the public. Now, what my guys and I are doing is we're just a straight-out for-profit company, but we're taking the profits that we're getting from this, and we're going to donate a huge amount of the profits to my son's foundation. As a matter of fact, 75% of all the money going to my son's foundation this year is going to come from the sale of this project. So we're hoping that people get on board of this and really help us set his foundation forward.
This is awesome. Yeah, I'm going to actually pass this clip along to a few baseball owners that I know.
Yeah,
because
right.
I like what you're saying.
Players. Hey guys, here's another thing is since there's going to be 200 of these, people are going to be able to take a number and we're going to mint that number in their honor. For instance, the Dodgers are getting one of these already. We're going to mint number 42 in Jackie Robinson's honor for the Dodgers. Don Drysdale is right here. His family is going to get mint number 53 because that was the number that Don wore. And we're going to be able to give them number 53 and so on. So we're hoping, Shohei Ohtani takes 17. Aaron Judge takes 99. we're hoping that former and current players jump all over this and get it. This would be an amazing thing.
Yeah, I can picture going to a ballpark, right? And you're in like say for the Mets, the Jackie Robinson Rotunda, and there's a section. You have to.
There you go. There you go.
I will make a phone call or
coolest painting I've ever seen.
Agreed.
I'm not big into paintings because I don't understand it. Like I know people are really good at it. Yeah. And it's a talent. Mm-hmm. Coolest painting ever.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, AJ. Thank you.
Saxy.
Yeah.
Saxy.
Yes, sir.
Saxy, you got to have Opie talk about this. I was in Houston last week. He didn't mention anything about this. I was talking to him in Houston.
Great.
He didn't say a word
AJ,
about this thing.
That is a great point. And listen to this last one. I got to tell you about this. You guys are going to love this. His signature is right here. This is the original painting right here. See his signature right there? Okay. Yep. People get one of this and they can put it in whatever monitor they want, right? And if they click on Opie's name, a 2-minute and 25-second video is going to come up of Opie telling you how he painted this, what he used to paint it, what was the genesis of the painting, why it came to be that he did it this way, and why it took him 8 years to paint this. It took Opie Otterstedt 8 years to paint this. And he's going to come up in a full screen video and tell you all about it. So I think that's a really cool little, nuance to the painting.
Super cool. One other question here that we're getting from some of our fans watching live, and maybe this comes after, the OG 200 gets sold. Is there any opportunity for some type of print after you get through the mint?
It's possible, but we want to make sure that these stay exclusive. Yep. And that's why people say, why don't you do 1,000 of them or whatever? No, we're only doing 200 of them. That's it. There may be other things that we do later because we're doing several different things for the foundation. And by the way, whoever gets one of these is on our team. They're going to have a say in the direction of the next year's event for my son's foundation. Everybody that owns one is going to be on the team, and they're going to help us decide the direction of the foundation.
This is awesome. BabeandTheKids.com. Saxy, thanks for laying this out for us. And then please alert us too when it's live. Maybe you said maybe June 1st-ish.
Yes. Hey, check out The Athletic tomorrow. Huge article about this whole story tomorrow in The Athletic.
We'll retweet it and post it, the whole deal. Awesome catching up with you, dude. Been way too long. Good to see you.
I know. Thank you, guys. AJ, good to see you guys.
Thanks, Saxy.
Thank you, Saxy.
You bet.
Hey, we're here in LA.
Yeah,
I guess we'll say it.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, next time you're in LA, I'm in LA. We'll have to hook up. We'll have to get me.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Scott, I'll give you my number for him.
Yes, please. Yeah, I'll pass it on. I have yours.
Okay.
Thanks, Saxy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Of course. We're here for it.
Yes,
Steve Sax, great Dodger for many years. Great personality. He's been a broadcaster for many years too in a number of roles. I did some games with him back in the day. Great dude, really fun, full of energy. However old he is at this point, and when I forgot to even ask when he was on, he looks and seems like 20 years younger. I bet you he's older than you think he is.
It's caffeine. I know you're a caffeine guy.
I am lit
He's
right
got
now.
He's got caffeine. He's got caffeine.
Do you know how old he is?
He's talking. I mean, if he's not 62, I'd be surprised.
He's 64 years old. Looks good. Saxy's doing it. But anyway, that's a really cool painting in all seriousness.
Dude, I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad at Opie, by the way. I had a whole conversation. Yeah, he's the guy in Houston that does all the paintings. Mm-hmm. So every time I'm in Houston, he always has like a signature black hat he wears. He wears like I know Kratz has seen him. He has like a blue.
I met him when I played for Houston.
Yeah, he has like the plaid jacket. He does all the paintings. Remember Vernon Wells used to do all the paintings? Well, Opie's kind of become the guy that's taken over. Right, so I was in Houston, I had a 20-minute conversation. He didn't even mention this. I'm like, dang, Opie could have said something to me.
Well, that painting was from, what did he say, 15 years ago?
Well, no, he said he worked on it for 8 years. I thought he said
8 years. He worked on it. Yeah, incredible.
Those paintings are awesome, by the way. Texas Clubhouse is littered with them. Houston's Clubhouse littered with them. I think, and I know a bunch of guys that had like signature moments in their career. I remember one guy got his first big league hit, and I was like, like other dudes have like their 500th home run, they're like 300th. It's like, hey, you're gonna definitely be in the big leagues because they're expensive. I mean, a
Yeah, but you get your hit. That's your hit. It
No,
doesn't matter.
I get
You
it.
made
I
it.
get
You know
it.
what I'm
I
saying?
get it.
Even if it's your only hit.
It wasn't his only first hit gift, so I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah, but you gotta savor it. You made it.
Yep.
Even if you only made it for one. You made it for one, which is more than everyone else besides what? 20,000 people or something like that ever.
23,671 just the other day.
No big deal. Hot corner time. So we talked Astros, flailing. Mets, semi-thriving, staying above the 500 mark in a tough division. They had a great game against the Giants to finish up the series. And shout out to Lindor, 4 for 5, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. He had a great game. Mets bullpen's been strong. Starters need to get deeper into games. They're going to wear them out by June. But you're kind of like this, AJ. Are you like, I'm not really buying it?
No, because I don't think their starting pitching is deep enough. I still don't think. I don't think they're what we just talked about. I don't think Minaya went 4 and 2/3. They had to use a bunch of bullpen guys. They still don't have Senga. Severino's been very up and down. It's like who's going to give them 6 innings when they need it? Who's going to give them 7 innings when they need it? They don't have that guy, and all it takes is one guy to get hurt, and then they're really in trouble.
Predisposed ideas, predetermined ideas of what a team should be. 2 prime examples: the Mets and the Astros. Like, we think the Astros are going to win the division. I think we all 3 picked the Astros to win the division, and we are not quite ready to write them off. The Mets are fighting right now, and essentially they're getting a 800, 110 to 120 OPS plus batter coming back this Friday, tomorrow. Now it's Thursday, so tomorrow. And we're kind of like, our predisposition to teams guides our decisions. I mean, who are we more impressed with or disappointed with? The Astros, disappointed, like this isn't going to work, or the Mets? Wow, this is definitely going to work.
Well, I'll take both sides here. So with the Astros, I still think they're going to bounce back. Are they going to make the playoffs? So they're digging themselves in quite a hole right now. But they do have Framber coming back. JV just came back, but I'm not counting them out.
When is Framber coming back?
This weekend.
Yep.
In Mexico.
He's going to pitch in Mexico City? First
Yes.
time back?
That is not a confidence booster. That curveball is not. Yeah, let's check the futures on the over on that one.
Elevate your mind and return to Mexico. Hey, it's a good confidence boost, AJ. If he can pitch in Mexico, you can pitch anywhere. You might as well put him on the moon for the second.
Yeah, but his sinker's not going to sink to get him through.
I don't know who he's pitching against, but you can still win a game 12-11.
He's pitching against the Rockies.
Right. I don't know who's on the other side of the matchup, but yes, the Rockies are a good dose of medicine. I mean, that is not a good lineup either. I mean, it's not a good team, but it's not a good lineup this year either.
So it's like the Strasburg getting called up to pitch against the Pirates for his first one.
It definitely doesn't hurt.
2009 Pirates.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. So for me, on the Mets side, I said when the season started, it's Braves, Phillies, Mets, Marlins or Nats. I was close, but I said Marlins and Nats, right? I was very down on the Marlins not doing anything. I still think that's what the division looks like. The one difference is I didn't think the Mets were a wild card team. They look like a wild card contender at the least. But I do agree with AJ because I have mostly Mets fans in my life from growing up in Jersey and Yanks, obviously. But the texts going on right now are, these are the dudes. And I'm like, watch the starting pitching, and they're like, what are you talking about? Our pitching numbers are great right now. I'm like, there's a lot of walks. They're not going deep into games. We've seen this song and dance quite often. It's a marathon. It changes very quickly. And they don't have the pitching depth. Like, there are not 3-4 guys waiting in double and triple A right now for the Mets that are like, I'm waiting for my turn. They don't have that right now. They have better position players in the minor leagues.
You have different Mets fans than I have.
What are your
friends? They're always saying, we're there in the World Series. They're like, I don't even know how we got here. If it wasn't for Daniel Murphy, we wouldn't have been here. First pitch of the game, Cespedes inside the park homer against Alcides Escobar. Should have caught it. Series is over. So if the Mets are optimistic, if Mets fans are optimistic, then I think You better check your Mets.
Yeah, I have optimistic Mets fans. Okay, so AJ is not sold. I'm not sold. You're not sold. Okay, just checking. Braves are a juggernaut too. I was on.
Hey, but here's the question: what's a more of a real record, the Mets record right now or the Astros record? Which one's going to be?
Forgot about that question.
Closer to the real
Mets, because they're what are they, 13-11? So they're close to 500. I think they're on pace for high 80s win total, but you're 2 games over 500. I think the Mets are a 500-ish team. Originally, I think I guessed like 78 or 9. Remember, we were having problems with the over-under, and we said don't touch that one.
We didn't want to touch it.
Yeah, so I still feel that way. I feel like 82 wins, which is kind of how they described their expectations heading into the year. It's like a little bit of a reload, but they're not bad. I mean, it's a good-looking lineup, so we'll see what happens. I would be shocked if they win 88 games.
I'm here for it, though.
I'm here for it. It's fun. That's why we play the games. AJ, what do you think? Which one's easier to believe?
I mean, at the end of the year, everyone picked the Astros to go to the World Series, so I'm assuming that this is just a big, giant speed bump for the Astros. So I'm going to hope that the Mets are closer and the Astros are going to get really good, really hot. So let's go Framber.
Were you ever on a playoff team that started out this poorly or had a stretch like this?
We started out in 2003 with the Twins. We didn't start out very good, but I don't ever remember being this bad. Like we were kind of hovering around like 500-y, and then we got hot like at the end. But I don't ever remember being like this bad. And then because it's so hard to turn it around. People are like, oh, you can just flip a switch and turn it around. It doesn't work like that. It's hard.
It doesn't work like that when you don't have, especially when you don't have a stopper in the rotation. I get it. Verlander,
yes,
he's going today.
He's a stopper.
Notice who's not pitching in Mexico City.
What? JV's ducking that series?
No, I'm not saying that, but I didn't say that. I'm just saying he's not pitching in Mexico City.
He deserves it. Leave him alone.
I'm not. Listen,
he's not saying that.
I know. Hey.
But is he the stopper?
Yes. They need him to be. He better be. Because who else is going to be? It's not going to be, Spaghetti and Arrighetti.
What a name, too. What a big league name, by the way. Anyway, I'm a big fan.
There's talent, too. Like Hunter Brown, not off to the start that we thought.
Hunter Brown wasn't great last year for him. JP France wasn't great for him.
Big name.
They were counting on Verlander, Fromber, Christian Javier, Urquidy out, Garcia out. McCullers, gosh, I mean, I love the guy to death, but he hasn't pitched since what, the 17 World Series, it feels like? I mean, he hasn't pitched in forever.
Him and Garcia is supposed to be back, in July-ish?
Yeah, remember when we talked to Lance in spring training?
He didn't even really know.
Like, maybe July, maybe August. I don't really know.
It's when a guy, you're not sure when the return is, you're dealing with some extra pain in there. And everyone's talking about, Framber's no-hitter, everything. Christian Javier, he started out well, got hurt. I think they were expecting more out of him this year, and he was delivering because he kind of had a down year. Maybe it was because of the World Series the year before. He had gone deeper, but this year he looked really good, and that is a huge loss for them right now.
Yeah, it's a neck. Not fun.
I don't even know how to deal with that.
I don't either. Massage. Good massage.
You're giving up dingers.
He wasn't giving up dingers. Maybe he was giving up a lot of fly balls, though. He's a fly ball K-Dog pitcher with that Invisa heater.
All right, to the Braves. So Michael Harris II had the walk-off. It scores Acuna. They sweep the Marlins. No surprises there. But Michael Harris also was the victim of a little bit of a rough call. So you can't review the foul tip?
Never. Never have. Never will.
Why? Why never will?
Because I don't think it's a singular call. I think they say, okay, well then anything that's out in front of the home plate umpire is going to be reviewable.
I think we get into semantics way too often. Like we all can tell that the direction of the baseball changed. It's not a strikeout. So let's just allow someone to look at it for 8 seconds, really 3 seconds, and go, you're wrong. Continue on.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're going to change. I don't think they're ever going to change the calls in front of what's the actual wording? All calls in front of the umpires, in front of the field umpires are non-reviewable.
Like the fair foul,
caught, no caught.
How about if we can review it and it's obvious, we say, let's switch it, and if it's not obvious, we don't.
Who's because you only have 20 seconds, 18 seconds.
Yeah, so I can tell. Give me one replay for 3 seconds, AJ. Did he foul it off?
I don't know. It's inconclusive.
Wow, AJ's on the Union.
You're hired.
There was one the other day. Remember in Texas, Jonah Heim, that was clearly fouled, and we couldn't review it, and we had a whole big stink about that. Remember, was it the first Sunday night game of the year this year, Texas, or?
And then he had to chase it.
And then the tying run ended up scoring. Remember, Jonah Heim was like, "What are you doing, Mr. Umpire?" And he's just like, "Go get the ball, kid." Yeah, I mean, but listen, I think there should be some tweaks to replay. Like whoever, like, let's say the second base umpire, right? They get these replays pretty quick. If there's an obvious one like that, the umpire in New York should be in the guy's ear and be like, "Hey, it's a foul ball. Just yell foul ball." I mean, it should be. I don't know. I think we have the technology to do it. I just don't think they want to do it.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, Braves question for you. So I was on a Braves radio station this morning, and they were asking me about the rotation. Obviously, they're sad about Strider, but they're feeling good about the team. And I'm like, look, I mean, this team's a juggernaut. That's what I always call them. They have other good starters. They have a good bullpen. Their offense hasn't even totally got going. Like, it's gotten going as a team, but if you look at like the OPSs for most players, they're actually down from what they usually are. Acuna's leading that charge. He doesn't have as much pop right now. I'm like, that's scary because they're going to be even better as the weather warms up. The question, though, was about Reynaldo Lopez. So, AJ, you've watched him for years. They love him. He's been great. He was great again yesterday. He's got the second best ERA among qualified starters. They're like, we're good. Our playoff rotation's set. I said, I love what I'm seeing too, but if you go off of history, he's not going 175 innings and going to be dominating in the playoffs for you. It just never happens. I was trying to bring up examples like Michael Lorenzen last year, back to a starter, all-star with Detroit, no-hitter with Philly, ran out of gas. Bryce Elder for their own team last year ran out of gas. So I was just saying they need a very legit insurance plan that they can get at the deadline who they can insert into the playoff rotation if they end up having a problem with someone like him in September.
Agreed. Listen, it's kind of the same thing we talked about with who did we have on the other day? And we were like, 130 innings. Remember after who was that? Gosh, who was it we had on the other day? We were talking about like, I don't see me jumping from 13 to 130 or whatever. I don't know who it was. Oh, no, sorry. Excuse me. I think it was Chris Paddock. I did the game the other night. It was Chris Paddock, and he threw 7 innings. And Rocco Baldelli was saying, like, he's going to go from 7 or 13, whatever the number was, to like 150 this year. He's like, that's not a realistic jump. Reynaldo Lopez, I know, pitched a lot last year, but to go from 50, 60 innings to 150 to 200 innings, it just isn't a realistic jump. Even like Chris Sale, who hasn't pitched in a long time. Right now, Max Fried can do it. Charlie Morton can do it. Whoever the fifth guy is, whether it's Elder or someone else they have. But this is just such a large jump for guys. It's impossible to think it's going to hold up. I hope it does for Reynaldo Lopez, but I don't know.
His innings pitched over the last several years. So, for example, 2023, the total was 66. 65 the year before, 57 the year before, obviously 2020 the year before that. I get it. He's been a starter. And I was like, they don't have to baby him the same way for 2 reasons. One, he's a veteran, right? They're not like, we got to be careful. He's 19 years old. He's 30, signed to a long-term deal. And 2, Alex Anthopoulos, I think, throws out the rule book a little bit more than others because he has been on the record saying that he's been part of a team like LA. They baby pitchers, and then it still doesn't work. I think he's brought up guys like Urias, right? Urias was babied for years, and he still got hurt plenty of times. It's not like, wow, we had the perfect plan for him. He had some good times, but it's not like he became this durable 200-inning workhorse before he obviously got in trouble again and he's out of the league. So anyway, I just think you have to have a good insurance plan. But for now, ride that because you still got to win the division. And Reynaldo Lopez looks freaking awesome.
This is where their depth is going to be. They brought Bryce Elder to throw the other day. They have Oh,
in the minors.
Yeah, the coolest
Smith-Shawver.
name. Smith-Shawver.
He pitched, I think it was either today or yesterday, because I was watching a game, and I think he had I got through the second or the third. He hadn't given up a hit, but he only had it was 50 pitches, 28 balls, and 25 strikes, something like that. So he's still young. Innings, but also just developing as a pitcher.
He just throws. He just throws. He's athletic. I mean, what were they saying last year? He was like a year and a half out from just being a quarterback. Like, he wasn't even really pitching that much. So it will be interesting to watch as the season goes how they're going to have Reynaldo Lopez in their starting rotation for the playoffs. This is not a yes or no playoff team. It's a where are they going to be ranked in the playoffs? How far are they going to go in the World Series? But right now, it's hard to see. It's hard to see who pitches after Max Fried. They're going to ride Max Fried like CC Sabathia in
Charlie Morton.
2008.
He's pretty good. Charlie Morton's pretty good.
Yeah.
He is very good, but you have to do the same thing. He is on more of a Kershaw type of schedule because there's going to be a bump in the road. Max Fried is not – if he is healthy, obviously this is with everybody healthy, but if he is healthy, he's going to go. He is going to go. You every 5 days, you're going to get the ball.
He's going to go to free agency too. So
that's why he's going to go.
This is good for everyone. They're like, we need this. You need this. That's fine. And Charlie Morton is 40 years old.
How do
he
they
might run into a bump or two?
How do they have – if they have the best Reynaldo Lopez, the best Chris Sale, and the best Charlie Morton for the playoffs, that team is my lock 100%.
Yeah, they're good.
I just don't know how they get those other three to be at a spot where Reynaldo Lopez is going to run into 120 innings by July at this pace, and he can't do it. He can't do that and go pitch in the playoffs.
The radio guys were like, maybe they cool him down for a little bit mid-season, but I'm like, that's tough. It's
with
tough
a 2 ERA?
I know. And for a vet, too, who's been trying to do this again. All right, anyway, we'll step aside for a quick break, and then Keith Law is going to join us to get into some prospect and young rookie talk. Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of Foul Territory. Unified Healing is an innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. This technology promotes wellness and deep relaxation, and there are hundreds of locations across the globe. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Go to unifiedhealing.com/foul to learn more and find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/FOUL. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System. The great Keith Law with us right now. You can follow him at Keith Law, read all of his work in The Athletic. Big fan for years. He knows this. So check out what he's got. Also, great follow on Twitter. So Keith, great to see you. Actually, I want to bring you into this combo that we were just having about Reynaldo Lopez for a moment, because you're following pitchers, through their rise up the minor leagues into the show. Is there a way to handle this for a 30-year-old who's bounced around? Like, how do you not get to 175 innings with Reynaldo Lopez if you're the Atlanta Braves?
I think, in a case if he's 30, I think it's a 1-year deal.
No, 3.
3 years.
Oh, did they give him a 3-year deal? Okay,
yeah,
my bad. My mistake. So then maybe you are thinking a little more long-term, because I'm trying to say my point here is, how long-term are you thinking with him? You guys made the point while I was kind of waiting. With Max Fried, he's going to free agency, right? You're not really worried about his long-term health. You're just going to, one of you said, you're going to ride Max Fried like the Brewers rode CC Sabathia that year, right? That is kind of how I think Atlanta should handle Max Fried. Maybe in Lopez's case, I might still manage him this way and say, we want to win this year. The goal is to get to the World Series this year. So if he shows signs of fatigue at some point during the season, like his velocity drops, or he just starts getting hit around a bit more, then I would ease up on the throttle. But I would not want to manage his workload the way that teams typically manage, say, a 23-year-old. This guy has had no success as a starter in his career, really, before right now. And I'm still a little skeptical. He's always had trouble with left-handers. He's putting them on base at a much higher clip than right-handers. I wonder if that's going to even itself out. And maybe that's how they manage his workload, right? Maybe at some point during the year, they skip a start. because just to keep the seasonal workload down. But I would not be treating him saying we're going to cap you at 120 innings for the year and that's it. Your goal is just to maximize the value you get out of him between now and ideally on the end of October. That's very different than, say, what the Pirates are doing that everyone's talking about, where they're barely pitching guys like Jared Jones and Paul Skeens.
That is exactly what a great transition by you. You knew exactly what I was going to say. But what you're saying is the Pirates fans need to go and get their tickets now, because both of these guys are not going to be pitching, because all these innings limits, they don't mean jack. They don't mean jack. Everybody's still getting hurt. Yuri Perez.
Yep.
Bang. Sent down to AAA. Oh, he's going to be healthy. No, he's not, because you broke him. He broke. Let him throw. So why can't the Pirates, who never go into free agency, let these guys eat? Let it eat. Let the Pirate fans have what they want.
I assume you've seen what Paul Skeens is doing. I don't know if you've ever seen him pitch. Like, what reason is there that he couldn't be in the big leagues right now? I do not understand it. I understand giving him, I said this before the season, they're going to give him a couple of home starts in the minors to keep the affiliate happy. I get it. I worked for a team. No. You do have to do a little bit of that. We're done. We're good now. It's time to call him up, because you're just wasting bullets. And as you said, I don't know of any evidence that having your starters throw, what did Jared Jones throw in that outing? 59 pitches, 50 strikes. That's like a half day. And they took him out. And what evidence is there that having a guy throw that little actually keeps him healthy? I don't know of any. We all know that throwing those guys 130 pitches when they're young, that led to a lot of blowouts. The Bill Pulsifers of the world, who probably should have had a great 15-year major league career. The Mets overpitched him when he was 19 and he was never the same again. We're not talking about that anymore. Nobody does that anymore, not in the pros. But now we're at the other end of the spectrum, where some teams are barely pitching their guys. And as you said, it's not reducing injuries. It's certainly not reducing the elbow injuries. We've gotten rid of a lot of the shoulder injuries, not all, but a lot. Now it's all these elbow injuries. Well, barely pitching them doesn't prevent the elbow injuries, and then you don't get them pitching. You don't even get the value out of having them in your organization in the first place. So I'm completely befuddled by what the Pirates are doing with those two guys in particular, because Jones has been unbelievable so far and incredibly fun to watch. And Skeens was the first pick last year. He probably could have pitched in the big leagues last July if they'd been contenders. And I don't see any reason for him to be in the minors right now.
Because they're trying to get him away from the Super 2 number. But I want to more hit on what you said. The Super 2 number thing, it irritates me. Just extend him. I know you just gave him a big bonus. Just extend him, whatever. Yep. We're not going to get into that. You said, I know teams make the affiliates happy. Please tell me there is not a shred of truth in that, because that would irritate the tar out of me if that is at all true.
Oh, that's absolutely true. Your affiliates expect, when you have a star prospect, they expect those guys to play somewhere, because it's money. It is just straight money. I was actually kind of surprised when the Nationals skipped Dylan Cruz over Wilmington, which is where I live, last year to get him up to Harrisburg, because one homestand here in Wilmington would have put a few $1,000 extra in the owner's pockets from ticket sales, because he was the second pick in the draft. He won the Golden Spikes. Cruz is kind of famous for people who follow college baseball. For all 3 years he was at LSU. Those guys are money, like a rehab assignment, right? Where you decide where you send a guy on rehab. Some of that is about the level, but a lot of it is, all right, which team needs a little attendance boost? Yankees always used to do that. They were very careful about, when they had the affiliate in Trenton, who got to Trenton, who got to low A, who got to high A, because you're like handing someone a check. Derek Jeter's going to rehab for a couple of games in Double A. I mean, they're going to sell a few thousand extra tickets.
Interesting. I never would have thought of it like that. But I always thought we went on rehab wherever the team was at home, so I didn't have to travel. But that was just,
That's true too, right? That does make it easier.
Plus, it was the timing, right? So, the one time I did go into rehab, actually, I went twice for 4 days total. One, I went to Frisco, which was Rangers. It was right there. It was a 20-minute drive. That was easy. Yeah. And then when I was with the White Sox, I actually went to Norfolk, and then I went to Charlotte for one game. So I actually had to make a road trip with the boys.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, exactly, Keith. Wow. And Kratz says I wasn't a grinder. He has no idea. Granted, you weren't. Granted, they took the bus and I took a flight, but that's a whole different story.
From Norfolk to Charlotte? Not a grinder. I mean, if I can double down, not a grinder. You don't understand. You don't even understand what MILB means. But anyway, go ahead. Continue, AJ,
right.
with your question.
So while we're on the topic of Norfolk, and Norfolk was the Orioles, Jackson Holliday's off to a rough start. I mean, is there any chance that they don't keep him in the big leagues and get Norfolk a bigger check?
Yeah, when Norfolk's really having trouble with their offense right now, I'm sure they could really use the help. It's a great question. Even just talking to some scouts, over the last week, I mostly been out seeing amateur guys, but people are asking, "Hey, you surprised? Do you think they'll send him down?" They might. I don't think they want their prize prospect. Holliday's a pretty great kid. I'm not worried about him getting so down that it affects him long term, but you also don't want him visibly struggling either. You don't want all eyes on him, especially the big league team otherwise is doing great. You don't want there to be undue attention on this kid. My worry is you send him to AAA, he's just going to rake again. He's already kind of shown there's not a minor league level that's appropriate for him. For him to make the next set of adjustments, and I think it's pretty clear it's not just one adjustment, he probably just needs to be in the big leagues. And I would argue if I were in the front office, we're good. We're fine. We're going to score plenty of runs. He can certainly help us on defense. Just bat him ninth most days, pretty much every day. Maybe sit him against the occasional lefty, but get him at bats in the majors so we can keep working with him. He can keep making adjustments. I don't know that that's absolutely what they're going to do. Maybe at some point they just decide enough. We send him to AAA, but that's what I would be advising if I were if I was in that particular front office.
Got it. Well, he was 1-1 in the draft, and you just put out your list not long ago, and you do not have the right player at the top of your draft. So can you explain why you have Condon at the top and not Jack? Because Jack does everything.
Homer.
Jack hits. Jack throws from the left side, 95.
Homer.
He hits homers.
I can't figure it out.
I can't figure it out.
I'll message my editor right now and have them change it. You tell me who to put there.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Jack. Right? It's great. He's got the most power of anybody in the draft, and I've seen him pitch. I happen to think he needs to just go into pro ball as a hitter. First base.
Agreed.
You probably try him in right field. Just let him hit. But there's some swing and miss there, and I think hopefully just doing one thing will allow he'll make those improvements, right? He's doing two jobs at this point, and I don't know how much time he's really able to spend on improving his pitch recognition. Condon, for me, he's going to be a little faster through the minors, and he's got pretty significant upside too. It's probably going to be more of a balanced approach where it's more on base, more batting average, doesn't have the otherworldly power of Caglianone, but I think Condon, last I looked, was still leading Division I in homers. And he's played okay in center field. That was the most surprising thing to me, was seeing him. People talked about him like, oh, he's not going to have a position. He played fine in center. If he ends up in an outfield corner, he's going to be pretty good. He has played third base, and the area scouts I've talked to down in Georgia say he's good enough that if you wanted to send him out as a third baseman, you could try it and see what it looks like. Obviously, as the game speeds up, maybe he has to move, but we're talking about him playing a skill position, and so he's providing positional value as well as value at the bat. To me, Caglianone is the guy you take if you just want to shoot for the biggest upside, because you might get a 40-homer guy. And I don't think Condon, Travis Bazzana, J.J. Weatherholt, who's back and at least hitting now, none of them can offer the upside of Caglianone. So to me, it's really, what are you looking for? The guys who get there a little quicker with a little less ceiling, or do you just want to shoot for the moon and maybe get that middle of the order bat?
I mean, you shoot for the moon. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. He did lead the nation. Caglianone did lead the nation in homers last year. He also did just hit nine homers in 9 games or whatever it was, 9 straight games with a home. Just saying. But I digress. Yeah. Now, Kratz is going to call me a homer because I'm a Gator fan, not a Georgia fan, but understand. I also know Condon's family a little bit, so it's fair. Through friends. But, okay, now, you mentioned in your article, too, Kellen Lindsey. Now, this is a kid I've been hearing about for a few months. I have some friends that are scouts. I'm from the Florida area. And there's a scout that I'm good friends with, and he's like, I got this kid. I don't want anybody to know about him. And then all of a sudden, you go and write this article and blow him up. Why, Keith, did you do this about Kellen Lindsey?
Can't hide him. He's best runner in the draft. Somebody
he was a football guy, right? He was like a football guy, and he was super raw, but I guess he can just fly.
He can fly. I mean, it was 4 flat from the right side, and then I saw him line 1 to right center. And you see guys hit inside the park homers in high school like all the time, right? Because 2 outfielders collide, or there's no outfield fence and the ball just keeps going and going. Lindsey legitimately made it around the bases without the other team screwing up, right? He can absolutely fly. And the thing I found so interesting too is talking to a scout later that week. I was just at the NHSI tournament in North Carolina, and the guy says to me, everyone's afraid of missing the next Trey Turner. And I thought, it's like, yeah, that's pretty good actually. Because if you go backwards on Turner, first time I saw Turner, he was a college freshman, not a high schooler, but it kind of looked like that. Similar body, super athletic, obviously extremely fast. Nobody thought Trey Turner was going to get this strong and hit for this kind of power. And I think people are looking at Lindsey and saying, extreme athlete, incredible runner, the swing works. He's raw as a hitter. And a lot of that is just because where he plays. It's Central Florida. It's pretty low caliber baseball.
Hey!
Sorry.
Whoa! Love that
Whoa,
stuff by you, Keith.
Whoa.
Yes!
No. He's from like where McCutcheon's from, like
Right.
actually he's north of there, but
Wachula.
He's from like Wachula, which is like small town. Like
4,000 people. I ate at Wyndham after the game because there was not a lot of not Orlando. 2 hours from Orlando, almost a 2 hour drive. Yep. It's just the pitching he faces down there is not great. That's the problem you run into. And because he didn't do a lot in the summer and the fall, I think he was still playing football for at least a portion of that. So scouts haven't seen him facing better velocity, for example. It's uncertainty. It doesn't mean he can't do it, but it means we don't really know. We don't have the same feeling that we would on some of these other guys like Connor Griffin or Bryce Rayner, who are two other first-round high school guys who scouts saw last summer and saw in the fall, and they've seen them face better quality pitching. So that creates some uncertainty around Lindsey. But I think the Trey Turner comp is really interesting because Turner, I think, was underrated really all the way up through the draft. He should have been picked higher than he was. And I include myself. I never thought he would get to this kind of power. So I think people are looking at Lindsey and saying, premium athlete, can really fly. We don't want to be late on this guy like we were on Turner.
Yeah, what about McCutcheon? He worked out all right. He's from the same
Yeah,
area.
he's pretty good. He
turned out okay. So let's I don't know where you're from, Keith, but let's slow our roll on Central Florida doesn't have any players. Okay. We just talked about three that are from the general area. We talked about Caglione, McCutcheon, and now Lindsey. So there's pretty good threesome right there.
You get players out of there sometime. Kyle Tucker. I mean, he's okay.
Yeah,
Keith, just say
Chris Sale, I'm just saying.
It's nothing like the Northeast, Keith. Just say it.
No, it's true. I'm a Northeast guy.
Yep.
Eric, who drafted you? Who was your area guy?
Blind person? Oh, sorry. Chip Lawrence.
It was Chip. I thought so. I just saw him last week, actually.
What a great dude. He's now like one of the head guys for the Padres, I think.
Yes. I think he's a national guy. Yes. Yeah. Which would make sense. I see him all over the country. Yeah. Yep. He's had a pretty good run.
He's done really well. Yep. Diamonds and roughs.
Definitely had a good run if he scouted Kratz, and he's still going strong.
At Eastern Mennonite, right?
At Eastern Mennonite University.
Powerhouse. Absolutely.
Powerhouse. So first player to ever get drafted out of Eastern Mennonite. Second to make the big leagues.
There was an undrafted guy before you. Messed up.
No, guy that didn't even play baseball. He played basketball. Larry Sheets played basketball. He never played baseball there because he was drafted out of high school. Then he quit and went back to school. And then he was like, oh, I'll go and play if I don't have to play in the minor leagues. And then he went and had a
I still remember your name from the draft room because at that point I was just doing the stats. I wasn't out seeing players. And Chip wanted you. And I looked and was like, yeah, this guy raked. I know, it's obviously not the SEC, but you did the best you could do with the competition you had.
It was not the SEC.
Okay. No, it was not.
It turned out well. I get to sit next to Scott, and he smells nice. So.
Thank you. Bicep to bicep. All right, question from a fan here, Keith.
Yeah.
You could have one shortstop, Marcelo Meyer or Carson Williams. Luke wants to know which one you would choose for, thriving in the bigs.
Great question. Two of the best pure shortstops in the minors right now. I think Meyer has more potential to hit, to actually hit, make contact. I'm just thinking, whether you're talking about straight batting average or just contact rate. I like Carson Williams a lot. He's a heck of a defensive shortstop. He runs better now than he did in high school. The Rays worked with him on his running gait, and he actually picked up speed. But I think Marcelo is going to hit for more contact, and that's going to lead in turn to more power because I do think he's a stronger kid. I think they're both really good prospects, both everyday shortstops. But I'm still rolling with the guy with the all-star upside. And it is, by the way, for folks who haven't followed, Mayer's been hurt a lot in his career, and it's been a lot of weird, fluky stuff. So just seeing him get off to a good, healthy start this year and have him really hit up to expectations, it's just very satisfying after 2 years of it's very up and down. Is he going to get healthy? Is he going to pan out? I think we're seeing it now.
And then let's finish with the bigs. So we have more swing analytics thanks to StatCast these days. So you were giving us a little analysis on Twitter about Jose Abreu. I'll let you explain it better than I could. So what are you observing?
So I saw, even in his last year with the White Sox, it's like he looks like he's slowing down. Like the bat looked slower. And then I went, at this point, we didn't have this data here that came. Tom Tango is great, works for MLB. We have some actual now TrackMan style data on swing speed. But even then, you could see Abreu wasn't hitting better fastballs the same way. That's really common for hitters as they get to their mid-30s. It's just hard to maintain that bat speed the older you get. And obviously, pitchers they're still throwing as hard as ever. So it is weaning guys out of the league. It's becoming more and more of a young hitters league. And what you see there on that aging curve, once hitters get it past about 32, 33, the bat speed drops off really quickly. And I think in Abreu's case, the small signs I saw in his last season with the White Sox were a harbinger of a really big decline that started last year. And this year he's just off a cliff. I mean, I'm not happy to say this, but he might be done. It is just possible that he's not able to hit major league fastballs enough to still be a big leaguer, or at least he's certainly not a big league regular right now. And that, I mean, it's disappointing, but if you're in a front office, you just have to be callous and say, who are the best 9 players for us every day? And Abreu probably isn't one of them for Houston.
All right, Keith, you and I, we need to have a show where we just argue with each other because
Perfect.
I disagree with this because I had my best year at 35, so my bat speed didn't slow down.
That's true. There are always exceptions, right? There are lots of guys who do peak. What is Justin Turner is 39, 40?
Yeah.
I was going to say he's close to my age. I'm 50, so it's not actually close to my age. But
No,
You're still 40. You're still 40.
I'm in range. But like, why? What I find fascinating is some guys just don't, right? They just don't lose it. And is it just they're better athletes to start with? You know, Abreu's always a great hitter.
Definitely a better athlete. Definitely me.
Yes, well, you were, right? Premium athlete. You were an 80 runner back in your peak, right, AJ?
I think they timed me at 3.6 once.
He scored 80 runs.
Absolutely. Yeah. Timed you with a sun.
80 runner.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's the big finish, okay?
Yeah. Shoot.
These guys are probably going to give me crap because I talk about him too often, but he's thriving. You know where I'm
going. Ellie De La Cruz.
I know, but there's more depth to this question because of the swing analytics that we have. Tom Tango also wrote about how he should just be a one-sided hitter, right? He thinks he should just bat from one side. I don't know if you saw any of the stats there, and just what your thoughts. Yeah. You saw that?
I didn't see that, but I follow where you're going with this.
Okay, so what do you think for Ellie? Do you think that he should pick one side? And is this what you're expecting from him right now from what we're seeing? Obviously, he's off to a great start, and I'm bragging about it because I've been high on Ellie.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, that's about as much pure athletic talent as anyone in the big leagues, I would say. I mean, it is the sky is the limit for him. The question of should he just bat from one side? I don't think that's easy to. It's fun to talk about. I don't think it's easy to answer because you give up so much when the advantage of switch hitting is obvious, right? You should have much smaller platoon split. Obviously guys are better from one side or the other frequently, but so many guys have a large platoon split. It's really true for left-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters in general don't hit left-handed pitching very well. When we find one who does, especially as a prospect, you want to grab hold of that guy because it's not a unicorn, but it's pretty unusual. So I would always be loath to have a guy give up switch hitting too soon. What I find interesting about this is, does swing speed data help drive some of those decisions to say, maybe it could go the other way too. It could say, hey, no, stick with this. This guy's bat speed is fine from both sides. We just need to give him more reps versus saying there's a big difference in bat speed from the two sides. And therefore, or maybe there's a big difference in exit velocity from the two sides, and that drives some of those decisions. I'm fine with using this data as another input to these decisions. I would not want to be at a point where someone says he doesn't have the bat speed from the right side, so he can't be a switch hitter anymore. I would not go that far. Make it one more variable in a bigger discussion that incorporates not just the analysts, but the coaches and the player as well.
Yeah, I like that. It's a great answer. Yeah, because he was saying maybe ditch the right-handed swing. It's a slower bat speed, all that. Like, pump the brakes. Let's look at the numbers.
He has crazy bat speed from the left side too. So it's a slower bat speed from the right side. Okay, but how slow, right? This guy he's a freak. And I say that with all love and appreciation. Like, it is crazy how good. First time I saw him, I was like, that guy's 18, I think he was. He was in Instructs. I'm like, oh my God, like, where did they find him? Like, and are there more? Can we go back and get more? Like, I want Ellie De La Cruz's all over baseball. And by the way, he's like, we just were watching the game last night. My wife's a huge Phillies fan. We had the game on, and she goes, "He's really fun, isn't he?" As they're beating the Phillies too, and I'm like, "Yeah, he is incredibly fun. Like we want more players like him, and we want to let them be themselves on the field as much as possible."
Exactly. 3 swipes for him yesterday. He's a show. He's the most electric player in the league right now. Keith, this was awesome as always. Really appreciate having you on. For everyone, follow at Keith Law, just the name, and check out all the articles in The Athletic. Thank you. Good
Keith,
to see you.
hang on, Keith. 1 second. I never do this, but you are a minor league prospect aficionado, so I'm going to do something ahead of time. Can you tell me what logo the Kratz hats is for today?
Wow.
I should know this.
Come on, Keith. You're a Northeast guy. Come on, you're a Northeast guy. You should know this.
Yeah, I should know it. Why am I not? I can't make it out.
It's done
Mariners.
It's an R. It's an R. It was the Mariners. It was done in 2003. The team moved to Manchester, New Hampshire.
Wait,
they play in a college.
That was New Haven, right? They played at the Yale Field, right?
Yeah.
New Haven. The Ravens? Oh, that's a Raven on there? My God, I thought it was a fish of some sort. I'm looking at that. God, I went there because they were our affiliate, right? Did you play for them while they were still at the one, right? They were 1 year.
The 1 year with the Jays. With Alexis Rios.
Oh, that team's great.
Dom Rich, Russ Adams, Guillermo Quiros, everybody.
Yep. I remember coming down there and, I can pick on Yale. I was like, really? This isn't even a good college field, let alone a AA field.
Yeah.
So they needed to move. Manchester's pretty nice too.
Oh, Manchester's. That's Manch Vegas. But anyway, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys.
Cheers. Keith Law with us. Okay, Ross Stripling's going to come on in a minute, so let's reveal some breaking news in Major League Baseball. Yes.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Maybe not as fun.
They ruin everything. They take away the fun.
Players Weekend is back. Can't wait for every player to have to pick their favorite nickname on the back of their... Nope, you're not doing that. So let's see what we do have from the league. Because, there's some fun stuff, but it's got to stand out. If you're going to have like an all-out fun weekend.
COVID killed Players Weekend.
Which sucks.
And so did the MLB.
So do jersey back orders. So Friday will be called Fun. Fun aspects of players' personalities, friendships, and off-field interests will be featured. Saturday is Causes. Focus will be on charitable and community initiatives that are important to players. That's great. Big fan, yes, in seriousness. Appreciation Sunday. Players will celebrate the people who helped them on their path to the major leagues. What's the showy part, that really makes it stand out? What's the NBA with the courts that are all different colors during the tournament? That was cool. What do we got here?
What are they going to do? They're just going to have different shoes every game? I mean, what else can they do? Are they going to have gloves? Like, I don't know what all they can do with this because, first of all, like, let's say they do batting gloves. The batting gloves are so small and you see them for a millisecond, right? Shoes, they never show the shoes. I mean, they'll show them on the broadcast just because it's the weekend and they'll want to promote it. But how are they going to, like, they're not going to give them like a hat where you can, the pitcher's not going to be wearing a hat with like mom, dad, brother, uncle, cousin written all over it because they're going to say no. So how are they going to do this? That's what I want to know. You can't put your name on the back of your jersey. Remember, like Boxburger had the box and the burger. Like that stuff was. I mean, I have a Players Weekend jersey somewhere running around here. They gave us one we did Fox, but I don't know. It just seems like there's a better way to do this, and I don't know. Maybe they need to. I don't know. When they lost me is when they went spy versus spy and they had the all black and the all white. Remember that weekend? That was where they kind of lost me on this one.
Yeah, I loved the names part. So let's bring in Chicken Strip, Ross Stripling right now. Was that your name for the back of the jersey for Players Weekend, Ross?
That was it. Yeah. What's up, guys? That's still like my pinned tweet, like my most interacted with tweet is I said something along the lines of like dreams can come true. I started a Major League Baseball game with Chicken Strip across my back today. And so I this is the first I'm hearing of it, you guys talking about it. So, I'm sure the guys in the locker room are talking about it right now. I wish I got their opinion and could bring it to you guys. But my guess is we're all saying, man, where are the names? That was kind of the most fun part that I remember about those 2 years.
That's the part that stands out, What's up? Sorry, AJ, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask him something about something different. Not really, but kind of.
Go ahead.
Well, no, they're in Yankee Stadium. I was wondering if he was in the stadium.
Yeah, I'm in like one of these crazy rooms down here that, like I don't even know if anyone uses this room. It's like it's like right outside the weight room. I've never seen anybody. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's foul territory room. It's
exactly. There you go.
Nobody.
We own a little slice, not for sale. It's like an extra media workroom sometimes too when it's super busy there. So yeah, they just like stuff the extra podcasters and bloggers in there, and they're like newspaper people only. Anyway, back to Players Weekend. So, we're reading about the press release. I don't want to just completely tear it down because of course, nobody's going to be like, oh, I don't like that the players get to focus for one day on all of their charity initiatives. I'm all about that. We talk about that with almost every player guest that we have. You need something very front facing that brings everyone in, that stands out. So I hope that we have that. And I agree with you, Ross. That was the names on the back of the jerseys. It was fun, even for guys that, aren't jokesters, right? You have like Corey Seager or Kyle Seager saying Kyle's brother or Corey's brother. Like all of that was cool. It started a lot of conversation. So number one, why do you think we don't have that coming back, that component? And number two, what can we do with Players Weekend to make sure that the world knows about it?
Man, good question. As far as the names, maybe a little bit of what you just touched on. I feel like as a group, we're more introverted compared to maybe the other professional sport leagues, right? Maybe like Corey Seager didn't really enjoy putting a name on his back, and we kind of had to force him to do it, And but then you get guys like Rich Hill doing the the Dick Mountain and going the full other way of it, and how many people love that. I remember. What we really loved about Players Weekend was a chance to show some personality for our guys that do have big personality, right? And wanted to show it and wanted to, get a weekend where they could put their personalities on the map and show fans what they're about. And the nickname on top of some of the other stuff, that was a part of it. And, it sounds like they're trying to do that with that press release. Once again, this is the first time I've seen it. I don't know all the facts, but I feel like the nicknames were like 1A, like the biggest thing that we could do. So I'm shocked to see those not be a part of it, or at least have the option, right? Give us the option to do it. If you don't want to do it, fine. But for those of us that have funny nicknames like me, Chicken Strip, I want to throw it on there. That's what I remember Players Weekend being about. So I am kind of in shock that those aren't a part of it.
So you're going to go with cool cleats? Yeah. Oh, is he going to go with like cool cleats or something? Like, I mean, you're going to have like Friday, Saturday, Sunday cleats. Like, I'm thinking about all the things you could do. Like you're a pitcher, so you can't like wear batting gloves. Maybe you can't wear sleeves that have stuff on them because they'll tell you. I mean, the guy got in trouble yesterday for having a USA flag on his glove, so you can't like have "Hi Mom" on your glove written because you'll get it taken off. So as a pitcher, I mean, what besides Chicken Strip, like I'm gonna need you to do something here, Ross, like that stands out, so we can talk about it after this weekend and say, man, Ross Stripling, he crushed this Players Weekend.
I would just wear as much white as humanly possible. Anything that gives me some extra deception. I'm a white hat, maybe paint my face white, some white sleeves. Yeah, just be a white out blob out there and see if I can get some outs. No, I don't know. If you get the option, sure. A lot of times things like that come from who you have a deal with as far as an apparel label, and not really that many of us have deals anymore. So like, I don't even know where I would go get fancy cleats if I wanted to, so this is not like something that's easily thrown together. So no, I don't see me being a guy that gets a chance to show a lot of flair unless I like start right now and try and find, go out of my way to make something happen, which isn't really my personality. So it'll be interesting to see how many guys can actually put something together.
What about Chicken Strip cleats? Cleats that look like chicken nuggets or something.
Sure, yeah. Scott, make it happen for me, man. I'll wear them. Like where you want me to just go down the street to Academy and see if they got the old Chicken Strip cleats in there?
No, I know one of the groups that does the like super artsy designs for the cleats. Have you ever gotten any of those? There's a few of them, but there's one group that I know pretty well. A couple of them are actually, I think, still in the minor leagues, but they take the cleats and they design the hell out of them into basically artwork.
Yeah, no, those are really cool. Alex Wood did that when we both got signed over here in Oakland. He bought 4 or 5 Nikes and sent them to a guy like that, maybe even the guy you're talking about. And, by the end of spring training, got them all back, and they're decaled in, specifically Oakland A's Kelly green and gold, and they're really cool, versus mine are just as basic as they could be. So yeah, that kind of stuff's cool. But once again, I would have to take the initiative to like get cleats, send them to someone like that, trust that they can actually make them look like chicken strips somehow, and then go out and pitch in a game like that, mind you, and try and get outs all the while looking kind of like an idiot. So that's part of the weekend, though, So we'll see if we can put it together.
Okay.
Now, Strip, here's the thing, Ross. Listen, here's what you do. Okay, you sell a sponsorship. You're from Texas, so Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's, right? PDQ. Pick one. Pick your favorite chicken strip company, and you sell a sponsorship. And you're like, hey, I'm chicken strips made by Chick-fil-A, or I'm chicken strips made by Cane's, or whichever one is your favorite. And then you have that on your shoes, and then that way you make money. And the MLB's gonna say, hey, that's not fair. You're like, hey, it's my nickname. Just trying to have fun.
Oh,
Perfect. You solved it. All right, I'll start firing off some emails, and I'll see what I can put together.
we know that if there's somebody that can take care of it, you're the one to take care of it. But I have bad news for you. Just found out you guys won't actually get to participate on Fun Weekend, on Fun Day.
What?
You guys have an off day on Friday for players.
The A's do?
It's a real story.
Like specifically, the Oakland A's have a Friday off day?
Specifically, the Oakland A's.
Why?
Weird.
That would be my question. It was more of a comment, but have you ever heard of it? A Friday off day?
Only like the Thursday opening day, Friday off day for weather. That's the only Friday off day I think I've ever had.
Astros have one this weekend. Astros Rockies have one tomorrow because they're traveling to Mexico City.
Right. I was going to say international. That's different for the international travel. Are you guys going anywhere international this year? No.
No, it's the Giants. They play a
Sacramento.
2-game series, I think. That's why they probably have a short one.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of a bummer. We're
Yeah.
probably I guess us and the Giants maybe would be the only teams missing it.
No fun for you, Ross. No fun for you.
We're the fun police today. All right, so I'll turn things around. I'm going to bring in a fan question for you from I Need Money. Can you ask for Ross's input on Max Scherzer's comments on the umpiring? I don't know if you saw them. If not, we can either fill you in. Did you see what Max said about relegating umps?
Yeah, I love that what was it, like a rehab start, and then he just goes off on a tangent on the umpires. That's fantastic. I mean, we've had in this New York series, man, we've had some interesting stuff going on with the umpires. Boone gets tossed because a fan yells at the umpire. Alex Wood got tossed from the dugout yesterday because Joe Boyle got called for a balk and then strikes out Aaron Judge, and the next pitch, Judge hits a 2-run homer. So it's been a little bit of the umpire show here in the Yankees-Oakland series. I mean, I'm not going to say I disagree with it. Do I see it getting implemented in any way? Probably not. But I love that he took a rehab start and just totally goes down on a tangent to take down the umpires. I think that's as Max Scherzer as you could be. So I would love to now go and that's like the kind of stuff we talk in the dugout where it's like sixth inning and we're like trying to kill the middle innings here, and we're just like, hey, what if there's like a relegation system for the umpires? That's like something we would start going down a tangent. So it's like one of those things that's funny and we chatter about, but whether it actually implemented, who knows? But I love that he brought it into the consciousness, and now people are talking about it.
That's what I love about it. That's what I love about Scherzer. He shows his personality, and you're allowed to do that. Did you have the A's leading the Astros at the beginning of the season on April 25th? The belief in that clubhouse, what for the A's?
It's that we're taking a step forward, right? I mean, it's that we have, drafted and developed guys that are now here. We made some big trades with the Braves and the Yankees specifically. Those guys for like Frankie Montas, Olsen, Murphy, etc. Those guys are now here. A lot of them have now maybe a year of service under their belt. They know what it takes to be a big leaguer, and it's time to take a step forward. I mean, from here we go to play Baltimore. I'm going to kind of be adamant about going around and telling these kids, like I was in the division 4 years ago when they lost 120 games, whatever it was, and it looked like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And here we are a year removed from them winning the division last year and being one of the best teams in baseball. And this year filled with veterans and amazing young talent, and we're we have a chance to be the next organization that could be like that as far as the talent we have in the locker room and the ability for guys to develop and take the next step. So I think that's coming out of spring where we felt really good. We had a horrible first week. I mean, just absolutely terrible first week. Cleveland made us look like we didn't belong in the same field as them. But now we're competitive, man. We're in all these games. We won game 1 here in New York, and we've been in the mix these next 2. And, we go out there and expect to play well, play clean baseball, and give ourselves a chance to win tonight, too. So I think it's just like taking a step forward. We don't care about the Astros. We don't know what their record is, but really showing up and expecting to win versus I'm not sure if they felt like that the last 2 years versus this year. We actually can feel that way because kind of what I said, we're starting to develop and get better and hanging in these baseball games better than they have in past years.
I know you don't make the lineup card, but can we get Esty Ruiz in the lineup every damn day? I know he hasn't played that much yet, and he had the hot start for a few games. They sent him down. He dominated. He's back up, dominating in the 20-something plate appearances that he's had. Like yesterday, I'm like, why the hell is he not in the lineup?
I'm sure he's in there today. We got Nestor, so I'm sure we got the righty in there. We really like Lawrence Butler. Butler's a very toolsy young kid, and he's shown flashes of what he can be, and we're giving him some runway there in right field. JJ Bleday in center, and then kind of mix and match in left field a little bit. So Esty's going to be in there. I mean, led the AL, maybe either led the AL or the big leagues in stolen bases last year. He's a really dynamic player. I got to think he's going to get plenty of opportunities. I love the conspiracy theories and the stuff about like the bracelets that he's wearing and he gets out and all that. That's not true. But I love when Twitter or X, whatever, just goes crazy with something like that. But he's going to be in there. There's no doubt in my mind because for one, he's earning more opportunities. So, I would say stay tuned for what he's going to do for us.
First of all, that's not true because you don't know if it's a conspiracy or not because it's like conspiracy. See, because there was also a whole thing about Rooker had one on too, and then he didn't play for a while. So I mean, there's when there's smoke, there's fire, Ross. I understand you can't talk about it. I get it. It's cool. But I do have one request for you. How far are you away from the clubhouse?
Like 30 feet.
Oh, because I just want you to walk in. I don't know if this is even possible with your phone and just show Scott the food room, knock on the door and be like, hey, here's what the food room looks like. And then just turn around and walk out because Scott wouldn't believe the food they have in Yankee Stadium.
Oh, yeah. It's top notch, man. It's normally you get maybe a protein, 2 proteins, a vegetable, a salad. Here.
Oh, no. Phone call.
Did I go black? Am I back? Yeah.
You're back. Give us the menu.
Yeah, we're salivating.
My bad. Yeah, I got you guys all fired up, and then I blacked out. No, today was Kansas City barbecue, and among a bunch of other things as well. And then on a getaway day tonight, I'm sure it'll be steak and lobster. I believe that's the New York staple. So that's a tough life we live here in Yankee Stadium.
Surf and turf.
Do it, Kukuza. Do it.
Yeah, Lou Kukuza Jr.
Legend. All right, awesome having you on, man. Good to see you. We'll catch you again in a few weeks, all right?
All right, thanks, guys. Catch you later.
Talk to you soon.
The first day, lobster roll with a wok. The guy will just throw some whatever you want in the wok and just spin it up. Some lobster rolls.
Do they have sushi? Because you know how they have it in Legends for the fans? Do they have sushi in there too? The real New York sushi, the good stuff?
Real roll, yeah.
How many clubhouses have sushi? That's not
There's
common.
a few.
Coastal.
I'm saying, yeah.
We're not getting sushi in Chicago.
Minnesota
Why not?
sushi.
They used to have sushi in Chicago. Hub
Yes.
51 used to bring it in. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie.
No. For the visiting Chicago, we were getting Chipotle, and in the cup with the Cubs,
You're getting
McDonald's.
That's right.
We're getting Big Macs or double doubles.
White Sox?
Those are In-N-Out burgers.
They feed the visiting players well?
Red Sox used to get the big pizza. They used to have a pizza that was 4 foot wide they put in the middle for you. Before they redid the clubhouse. This is before they redid the clubhouse.
No. Yeah. The small clubhouse was Chipotle. The small club, because I remember I was getting my bowl and they had the added in, and I banged my head on that really, really steep part where they put the food underneath the clubhouse.
No. This is before they even had that room.
Oh, there was a
spread
before
in the
that.
middle. They used to put the spread in the middle of the clubhouse because that room wasn't even there. So the little room, that room, and then it led back to the weight room back there. That wasn't even there. There was literally a cart in the middle of the clubhouse, and that was the spread. There was a sandwich
There's no
board.
food room, no room to eat food.
No,
It's just,
it wasn't even a batting cage. No weight room, no batting cage. No.
There was a batting cage
no.
outside. When I played there, outside.
No. Before that, the batting cage was in center field and there was a door, and there was one cage, and it was half a cage, and it was a quarter of a cage because the half a cage was split in half and it was angled, and whoever was flipping you balls, they had to duck every time because it was like bing, 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 bing. Right?
Wrigley was like that too.
Oh, dude, Minnesota, we didn't have a cage. Our batting practice was they take a net and drop it over the baggie in right field, and we would hit into that. That was our batting cage. There was no extra hitting. There was no batting cage. You just wouldn't hit.
I love it.
No weight room. No, none of that stuff, dude.
Big leaguers, Poppy. Big league.
they might have to go back to that. Maybe that brings back some success. I don't know. Let's get some dubs on the board. But MGM Locks, we went 3 for 4 yesterday. Perhaps parlay hit. You got to give it to him because he goes for it. I'm not a plus 295 guy, but he went for it. He succeeded. You got your over-under K props working with Clark Schmidt and Joe Ryan. By the way, Pap's picks were Milwaukee, LA, the Yanks. I snuck by with a little 1-run win for the Cubbies over the Astros to keep the streak going. And AJ, you had a shot.
Oh, you had a shot. You did. I wanted it for you,
I
AJ.
did too.
I'm here for the boys. There's not one day I'm betting against anybody. Man.
I was there. I mean, so I obviously watched that game, right? And the one thing I'll say about Crochet is he does get a lot of strikeouts, but I think we talked about this. I don't know who we talked about with yesterday. Everything was hard. Everything Crochet is hard. Everything is between 90 and 95. There's no like, hey, I'm going to flip a curveball in there at like 78. Like, it's like, all right, fastball's 95, cutters 90, changeup's 90. Every once in a while, he'll throw like an 85-mile-an-hour like slider that he just gets around and he rips. And I think he hit a couple guys with it yesterday. But it's like everything is that 90 to 95-mile-an-hour range. So I don't know. I was begging for a win and begging for strikeouts, and neither hit.
What a parlay that would have been. But so it is with parlays.
We move on to Thursday, and there is one game this evening. One game. Did you guys all follow the rules? I haven't seen your picks. There's one game.
No, there's 2 actually you can bet on.
There's 2? 2 night games?
Yeah.
Oh, the 4
There's
o'clock.
2.
You're counting the 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
the early
Counting the Dyer game.
game.
Doyers.
All right. Did one of you pick that game?
I did.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You lead off.
I just picked over. I picked over for my boy Nobu Yamamoto, 6.5, and then Mackenzie Gore, I think is 5.5. But
5.5.
I picked them both over because I don't know, shadows. Mackenzie Gore's 3 of the 4 starts is over 5.5, and Yamamoto didn't pitch so good last time. So against the younger Nats lineup, I think he's gonna split them up.
Throwing down Hundo. What do you got?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Actually, they moved the line since you made your pick. They moved it from 6.5 to 5.5. So I love your pick.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, I want that one now. Oh, wait, does it
No.
change?
You're not making that much more. It's with the parlay. It was like plus 120 to do that. Now it's like minus 140 for just the Yamamoto side. Your parlay is still good.
Mine was bigger than 120.
No, I'm saying just the Yamamoto side. Just the Yamamoto side.
Oh, yeah, dude, that gets me to. Well, it's closed, but I don't know. It was plus a lot.
It's plus a lot.
We're on
that.
a clock. You're up.
I like that. All right. Well, I went to the one game that we're allowed to go on is what Scotty was saying. And I'm going with the Nestor Cortez. The line moved for him to 7.5 strikeouts. I'm taking the under. He has hit that 5 times in his big league career, and he's never done it in back-to-back games. And he hit 9 last game. I know Oakland strikes out a lot, but I'm taking him under 7.5. And the money line for the Yankees, plus 160.
There you go. Nice. See, I was too scared to touch the strikeouts. I was battling because he's coming off the 9 Ks. The A's do have a lot of swing and miss. So I went with the Yanks money line, which is at minus 250. And then I paired that with Cortez going over 17.5 outs.
Yeah.
Like, can I get 6 innings? Is that
6
a Nestor
innings,
Cortez? Yeah. And you pair those together, and it's minus 115. So we'll see how we do. BetMGM's offer on the table for you is when you use the bonus code FOUL, up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. So sign up and deposit at least $10 into a new account, place your first wager, and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. And if that happens, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Let's slap. Don't touch that YouTube screen after this show. Dodgers territory is running with Alana Rizzo and Clint Pasillas, and we have Kratz hats. What's up? We already kind of showed it.
We already kind of showed it.
Yeah.
New Haven Ravens.
F.
I mean, Keith Law, who knows the minor leagues, couldn't even tell what it was. F. He's been there.
F. And they played at that shitty Yale field back in the day with a toilet bowl washer. F.
I don't know if I said it before, but seriously, it looks like a wave. Like you're here. Tell me it doesn't look like, if you just kind of glance, it looks like there's like an animal in a wave, like diving out.
It's such a poorly constructed Raven. It really, it's worse in person.
It's worse. This is why the team is defunct.
Yes. So we can proudly give that one an F. That team is canceled.
He gone.
Yeah. All right. We have a quick little clip to show you too on our way out.
I mean, it was on a rope, and I've been carrying this glove with me for years, and I was like, okay, now's my time. I got one coming, and hole in the glove, man. What can I say? It felt like every bit of a 109-mile-an-hour fastball, home run ball, yes.
Did we get the ball afterwards? Or?
No, it skipped over the fence, but Josh Pearson, man, he's such a great guy. He came to toss me their toss ball that they do in between innings, so he tossed it to me. I guess probably Friday I'll go get Tommy White to sign it for me and maybe kiss my Bobo.
Epic interview.
Kiss my Bobo.
Is it a Bobo or a boo-boo? I always thought it was a boo-boo.
But
when you take one out of 9 off the noggin, it's a Bobo.
We use Bobo for something else. But
yes, a Bobo's a binky.
Well, it's something else, but that's what you call it.
Later in the video, he takes his hat off, and he has got a knot. It looks like a horn is growing out of his head. He has a knot on his head. I can't imagine how that felt. We got in a fight in rookie ball, and I got kicked in the face, and I had a knot on my forehead, and I was trying to put my hat on. My hat, I got a huge head anyway, but it hurt so much. And so to have a knot on your head, and he has all those pins, oh, I can't imagine what that felt like.
Oof.
By the way, you know how Keith Law said, it's, Eastern Mennonite, whatever, they're in the Amish conference, the Amish American conference up there.
ODAC, Old Dominion Athletic Conference. History.
The SEC, it just means we're 109 off the dome. SEC fans, they don't even blink. They're just like, yep, let's go. Give me some more Cajun food.
That's what he wanted. He wanted some more Canes. He wanted some more NIL money that brings their teams. Yep. There was a game in Indianapolis, and unfortunately, not all our games were on TV in 2009 or 2010. Most of our games were. First at bat of the game, he was a prospect for the Nationals. Big, tall, beautiful-looking man. I forget what his name was. He hits a home run, and the woman is on the hill, and she's putting her blanket out.
You have to tell us tomorrow. I got to go.
And loop, right off her head, and she fell right down on the blanket that she was putting out. Had no idea. First pitch of the game. Daniel McCutcheon threw it.
I need everyone focused on the game when you're at the game. Unless there's netting in front of you. Then do whatever you want. Go on your phones, make funny faces. Dodgers territory coming up next. Don't switch anything. It'll just appear on your screen, and we'll be back with Kevin Pillar, Ken Rosenthal, and more guests. More fun on FT on Friday.